Heidi Herriott. Welcome to HorseTrix. HorseTrix is a step-by-step trick horse training program that will allow you to train your own horse to do some fun tricks. Well, I'm happy to have you here. Let's get started. In this episode of HorseTrix, we're going to be taking you through a wonderful horse obstacle course. The trick we're going to be training is part 2 of the bow. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. I love performing with my horses, but my work isn't always glamorous. And when I do chores, I love my custom engraved Fireborn gloves. You're watching Heidi Herriott Presents HorseTrix. So we're out here on the obstacle course, and we're actually going to start with some of the very basic elements. We have Rambo and Dorinda going through the gate, and then we're going to move on to some in and outs. What's important is what we're teaching the horse here are a few things. We're teaching some de-spooking exercises. We want them to be involved with a lot of different objects and feel comfortable with that. In this case, we're opening and closing the gate, which we do a lot on our trail rides and just riding around the farm. It's important that the horses learn to do pivots, turn on the forehand, meaning turning on the front or turning on the rear. Also lateral work from side to side. A lot of these elements require the horse to really be engaging their entire body, picking up their feet. You have a horse who's stumbling a lot, a great opportunity to deal with that as well. Now you'll notice as far as the tools of attack we have on the horse, we have a bridle on the horse, but we also have his halter on, and we have a lead rope. Because as we go through these elements, there's a lot of them where we're going to want to get off the horse and actually allow and introduce the horse to it, allow them to see it, and then we'll go back and ride him through it. This is really great right now. Rambo's really looking at all the elements. He's got his ears up. It's just perfect, exactly what we're looking for. He's flexing really nice and moving, does a really nice job. It's great because it also encourages them to pick up their feet. So if you have a horse who's stumbling a lot, this makes them a little more athletic, a little more agile. We also have some cows out here in addition to all the obstacles we have. There's a herd of nice, gentle cows that roam around, so again, it exposes your horse to a lot more things. Rambo's going to do some cones for us now with Dorinda. This allows the horse so many opportunities to get comfortable with things beside them, behind them, on top of them, below them. We have mattresses. We have stuff hanging above them we call the car wash. It gets the horse used to all these types of things. And we want to desensitize them, de-spook them. It's training for the horse and the rider. So it's a great way to have some fun with your horse. It gives you a purpose to be out here and working, but it also allows you to get comfortable with your horse and have a great day. Nice job. Good job, Rambo. So now the obstacle we're at is actually an obstacle where we're going to ask the horse to push something, either with their nose or chest. Ultimately, we'd like to see him push it with their chest. So Dorinda's going to go ahead and start. We call this the Yabba Dabba Doo obstacle. This is the Fred Flintstone car. And we want the horse to push it just like that. Excellent. Now this is something that we really have to work with the horses on because it's not a natural thing for the horse to walk up to this and do it. You see, Rambo, they really start to enjoy this though. Good boy. Push it all the way up here, Rambo. And then we're going to ask the horse to back out of here. Again, another important element of being a good rider, good team with your horse. Excellent. The other thing we use the pushing for is when the horses are opening the gates for us. So this is a great obstacle to have a lot of fun. Nice job. Our viewer Christy in Alabama writes, she's concerned about being able to keep her horse real calm. Well, we have this from a lot of viewers. This is a question that comes up often. And today we're out here on the obstacle course, so it's a great opportunity to address this question. Sometimes we make an attempt to keep this situation too calm. We need them to get a little uncomfortable to show them that we're the leader, to be trusted, to make sure everything's okay and that they're going to be fine. The obstacle course is a great example of how to go about that, exactly what it was created for. Whether taking them through like a car wash scenario or walking them over a hollow bridge, they're going to be a little fearful initially, but we're going to be their leader. We've got a great foundation on our horse. We're going to tell them that it's okay. They're going to trust us. We're going to get through it. It creates a much better bond with your horse. You'll have better interactions all the way around. You can always email me your horse-related questions to Heidi@HorseTrix.com. Well, Ed McAdam is actually the owner of Long Branch Stable, and he created this 52 obstacle course for horses, and it's been a lot of fun working with him. And I know right now we're working on one of the obstacles here where the horses come in and stuff hits them from the side. So Ed's added some palm fronds to go along with the pool noodles here that give us a nice obstacle to work with.
Right. Actually, what is occurring here is you're going over a bridge, and it's there's nothing under except the blue top, which represents the water. And what's important about this is the horse then is able to be stepping on something that's not ground. So that's the importance of going over the bridge, and we have some noodles here that gives that little extra activity.
Yeah, the bridge is hollow, so the elements here are the look of water on the ground, going through the noodles on the side, coming back over the bridge, and that hollow sound that the horse experiences. So let's go ahead and have Rambo go ahead and come through this obstacle. All right, so Dorinda, you're going to ride right through. And she's mounted at this point because she's gone through this course a few times with Rambo. So we feel pretty good about it. Now we're going to have Rambo come right back up here. And you're just going to have him keep a nice steady pace. Good. Excellent. Fabulous. Now one of the goals as we have riders who do this more successfully and they get better at it would be where we'd actually stop the horse right on top of this double mount here with all 4 feet and have them stand. So that's kind of an advanced version of this obstacle. Well, one of the obstacles in here is one of our natural obstacles that Ed was clever to incorporate into the course is water. And a lot of times on our trails or when we're riding, and in Florida even just puddles of water, the horses don't like to go over them. So this is a great training opportunity. And so we're going to have Rambo actually take this little creek crossing, and this is actually a little bit more difficult of a creek crossing. So go ahead and come on through. It's really hard for him to avoid the water here. He's going to have to come all the way through it instead of trying to jump it, as they'll sometimes do. So right now she's just coaxing him to come right down there. A little bit of a steeper crossing. And this is what we do. We ask the horse to do it, give him a chance to look at it, and then push him right down into it. Go ahead, give him a push. Good, there you go. Dorinda's a good rider. What I like about the way she deals with the horses, she keeps it positive and insists that he does it. Go. Perfect. A nice water crossing, terrific thing to do on a warm summer day. Some of the last elements on the course involve dirt and little hills. So we actually do some hills where there are little mounds, and we do a clover leaf scenario. Ask the horse to go over those. And then the final element is a big hill. We have the horse ride up. We want to stop at the top and then have him come down. So come on down, Dorinda. It's really good to learn to ride a horse when you're going up and down a hill. They've tried to make the hill fairly steep, probably the second largest hill in Florida. And I think Dorinda and Rambo did a great job on our obstacle course today. Again, something for you to seek out and find in your area. getting on an obstacle course and working with your horse is a great way to really create a better bond and a training scenario with you and your horse. Stay tuned for more horse tricks. I'm Heidi Herriott, a third-generation entertainer and horse trainer. When I have a problem with my horses, I use the best, Shriners. And here's Zach Shriner.
That's right, Heidi. Shriners is the safest, most effective, most natural product you can buy. If you want the best for your horse, get Shriners. Naturally perfect, be confident, get Shriners.
Ride safe, be prepared, get Shriners. You're watching Heidi Herriott Presents HorseTrix. Well, now we're going to train part 2 of the bow. In our last episode, we showed you part 1 and how to get started. Now we're going to show you some other options. But as always, I want to show you what the finished product looks like. Lady Dancer, a nice bow for us. All the way down, a beautiful bow. All right, and how about a quick smile? Give him a smile. Good girl. All right, now we're going to show you how to train the bow with some other tools and tack. Okay, so now we're going to show you how to train the trick. Again, this is part 2 of the bow, and we're doing it a little differently. We're giving you some options here, and we're going to break this down for you. So we're using French lace again. This is our beautiful little halflinger that we used in our last episode, who did a nice bow with just the halter, the hobble, and the lunge line. That's all we had on her. Some of you are not going to be strong enough to do that, or your horse is going to be moving around a little bit. So we're going to give you a couple options, and that is adding your saddle and putting your bridle on. So what we're going to have you do is put your saddle on. It can be a Western or English saddle. For some purposes, the Western saddle is going to be easier, and we'll show you that in a minute. If you don't have a Western saddle, that's fine. We have the bridle on. Now you have a couple options. What we're going to have you do is actually, I still left her halter on so that I can hook into that if I need to. We don't want to use the bridle more than we have to. You can take your reins and put them right up under the saddle if they're long enough. If they're separate reins, you can tie them right up to the girth area. What you want to do is create a little bit of a side check, a side rein. So that's perfect. Now our horse can't move their head around a lot. We still, again, left the halter on in case we want to hook into that. Now, as far as other tools and tack, we want to have our hobble. And as I was mentioning in the last episode, I actually sell the single hobbles. Nice padded hobble. They are hard to find for what we do with them. We use these for the bow, the pedestal, the breakdown, sometimes the Spanish march, all kinds of different stuff. So I have those available on my website as well. We're still going to keep our other set of reins handy, and we want to have our lunge line. Now your lunge line and the reins that you put on their bridle should be 2 different colors so you know which rope you're pulling on. It actually helps you quite a bit. Optional, a pair of leather gloves. I love my Fireborn leather gloves. I use them for all of my training. They're awesome. You can get your own logo right on those. And I have my little dressage whip and my pocket of treats. Okay, so now we're going to get started showing you how to train the bow with all of this tack. Okay, so now Cassidy, my daughter, has come back in to help me because, again, it's good to have another person with you when you're doing the bow just for safety's sake. You don't want them getting right behind you or pulling on the horse with you, but it's just good to have another person there because, again, this does get pretty detailed. Okay, so we put the hobble back on the horse's leg, just as we did in the last episode. Just hook your hobble right there around the ankle. Now, again, I'm going to take my lunge line. I'm going to drop it over the saddle this time. Same area. You're in the same position as though you were like vaulting on the horse, reaching right over the saddle. Drop that right down. Get it in front of the stirrup on the other side. Reach down there and go ahead and hook your hobble right up to your lunge line right up to the hobble. Okay. Now, as I said, I've actually put the reins, drawn them right up here under the stirrups, and it creates a little bit of a collection. And I've still taken my other set of reins, and this time I hooked it to her halter. Because I know this horse is a pretty soft mouth and she went down in the bow in our last episode, I don't feel the need to have to pull on her mouth, but this just creates a little collection, so that's what I want you to see. Okay, Now I'm going to go ahead and put my gloves on for this one. Again, this is optional if you feel like you'd like to wear your gloves. Now what's going to happen with the Western saddle that's going to help us out is the saddle horn. When we draw the leg up, for a lot of people it's difficult to stand here and hold on to the leg. So we have the option to snub it around the horn. And when you snub this, you don't create a knot, you just create a scenario where it can still move. So that's what we call a snub. So in a minute you'll see I'm going to pull the leg up, I'm going to snub it right up there, and it's going to be a lot easier for me to hold on to that. So some of you who just aren't as strong, or your horse is a lot bigger than you are, that type of thing, this is going to be very effective for you. So I'm going to start out the same way. I'm going to reach my hand way over here. I'm going to take my whip and I'm going to ask the horse to pick up its foot. So I'm going to tell her foot, foot, foot. Good, right there. Ho, ho, ho. Wait, we're not ready for that. Ho. All right. Good girl. Step up. Good. All right. So you see how easy that worked. Now because we had this little bit of collection, this little bit of rein on her, I actually didn't even have to pull. Come on up here. Come here. I didn't have to pull on her, the reins that I added into the halter at all. It just worked quite nicely to have the rein act as a little bit of a collection, kind of a side check. That worked out perfectly. Come on up here. Come on up here, French lace. Ho, right there. Cassidy, I'm going to have you come over here. Normally when you're training this, I always encourage you to be right along the rail, the fence, a wall. So let's pull her up, Cassidy. Come on up here. Good. Ho, right there. Okay, Cass, you just keep her from swinging that way. Good. I want to be able to walk up beside the horse without them turning around. So it's very important that you're against the fence, but be sure and practice this with your horse. You should be able to walk all the way around your horse without them moving around. A lot of times in our trick horse training, we want to float back a little bit from their front, and your horse always wants to back up with you. So what I encourage you to do is do a lot of that when you're doing your foundation training, your basics. Keep floating yourself back from the front of the horse so that you have the opportunity, because when we do the finished product with the bow and we want to get into that saddle and step up, we want to be right back here. If your horse won't let you get back here without backing up, work on that a lot first before you undertake the bow. So we're going to try this again. I'm going to take my snub off. I'm going to ask her to give me her foot, and then I'm going to say bow down. When she gets into the bow, I want to say whoa. Hold her there till I'm ready. When I'm ready for her to get up, I use my release cue, all right, or you can use okay. Again, let's remember our principles of training and be consistent. Whatever we say, it should be very consistent. Try not to use good girl or good boy. I find a lot of people do that, and that becomes your release cue. It's not a good release cue, because a lot of times when we're just working with the horse, tacking them that, we say, good girl. So it's very inconsistent to have that also be your release cue to let them up. So make sure you give them a finish. All right, okay, whatever that is. Okay, so we're going to do this again. I'm going to get my hand over here. Now this is becoming a lot easier, as it should on your horse. They get to know what's happening here. We're going to use that anticipation in our favor. So I've got the butt end of my whip. It's actually going to be more effective to use that. I've got my hand over here grabbing the lunge line. I'm going to say foot, foot, ho, good. I'm going to snub that, and I'm going to say bow down, good. I'm going to let her foot out, good. Ho, whoa, all right, come on up, and that's perfect. Her leg needs to be nice and loose at that point, so when she steps up, she is not tangled up. Well, stay tuned. We're going to be right back, and we're going to have Cassidy demonstrate the bow with this horse and show you just a few more techniques. We'll be right back. Hi, I'm Heidi Herriott, and I'd like to introduce you to Fresh Fix. It's the best thing I've found to keep my stalls smelling fresh. A daily misting of Fresh Fix not only keeps my stalls odor-free, it actually eliminates the dangerous ammonia vapors that can be harmful to our horse's health. Since I know you care about your horses and pets as well, get Fresh Fix. Go online and check out the Heidi special. You're watching Heidi Herriott presents HorseTrix. Well, we're sure having a lot of fun with French Lace, teaching her to bow. And as you can see just from the last episode of this, she has picked this up really quickly. And it says a lot for a horse who you've got a good foundation on, who's nice and quiet. So, as I always do, I now want to pass it off and let someone else try the bow. Usually we do that with the owner. In this case, I'm going to have my daughter Cassidy do it. So we're going to have Cassidy show you how to do the bow so that you get an idea again of somebody else working with the horse. So Cassidy, I'm going to ask you to go through the steps. She's going to reach over to grab that hobble, and then she's going to touch the horse's leg and say foot. Good, little, there you go. Make her do it, insist, good, ho. Snub that up, let her foot down just a little bit, Cassidy, there you go. Make sure you don't get that foot pulled up too high. And now you're going to ask her back up and say bow down, Cassidy, good. Step back, good. Let her foot touch the ground, good. Whoa, hold her. And when you're ready, let go of everything and say, all right.
All right.
Good, that was excellent. So you can see it went a little bit different with Cassidy. So that's what I want you guys to think about when you're actually going through this. Make sure you get that rope off of there so when they stand up, everything is free and clear. Well, I have one more horse I want to show you the bow with. We're going to introduce you to Lily. Okay, so now I said I wanted to introduce you to one more horse, and we brought Lily in. Now Lily is actually doing the bow, and we've just gotten rid of the hobble with Lily because I want to show you what happens, how you get rid of your training aids. They're great assistants to you, they work well, but what we want to do is get rid of the hobble, get rid of having to use the reins and all that, and like I did with Lady Dancer, just cue the horse by touching the ground and ask them to bow down. So Cassidy, go ahead and let's see if Lily will do a nice bow for us. Now leave that, let that rope go and just bow her. Good, back up beside her. Good, bow down.
Whoa. All right.
That's how it works. You can see Lily danced around a little bit, but we got it. She did a nice bow without having to use a hobble, so that's what that looks like. So that's how you get rid of your training aids and move into a nice bow. Then you can actually step right onto the horse, get up in your saddle, and you're mounted without the mounting block. Today's training tip is using voice commands and body language. Often I work with folks who actually don't speak to their horse a lot, and I encourage them to tell them what they're looking for. Let the horse know what you want, whether it's whoa, hop. If the horse is kicking or biting, a stern no is very important. Also, it goes along with the release cues when we're doing trick training. All right, okay. And then petting or praising your horse, good boy or good girl. Those are the voice commands. Body language, it's important not to be tentative, to allow your horse to know that you're in charge, that you're showing up as the leader, and they'll follow suit and be much more comfortable, and you'll be able to advance in your training. Our training tips for today. Well, I hope you had some fun today learning to train the bow, and here's what I hope it's going to look like before too long for you. You're going to ask your horse to bow down. Go ahead and get on just like that. No more mounting blocks. Well, I hope you join us next time. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your horse training journey. And remember, happiness is horses.